So yeah, today I want to do my Q&A. We're going to skip talking about the Game Awards and that whole thing because that was pretty wild. Yeah, of course, Jeff did not mention the layoffs, which, was expected, but definitely disappointing. And I did get a question actually for my Q&A that asked if I could change one thing about the game industry. It would be to not lay off people when you're making billions upon billions of dollars every year. That's just my 2 cents. So many questions about games this time around, which is really cool. Someone said, no question, just hope you're doing well. Thank you. That's really sweet. If you could give a piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be? I don't know if I would even listen to any of my advice because I think when you're young and you hear those types of things, when people give you advice and tell you stuff about the future or try to warn you, it kind of goes in one ear, out the other. I think when you're younger, you can grasp what they're trying to say, but it's harder to put it into practice. And I feel like it's something you kind of have to discover on your own through your own life experience. I wholeheartedly believe that. Because, I've tried giving advice to people and they'll just do what they do and not know what to change until something happens that makes them realize that that's kind of why I gave that advice. And then going forward, they will adhere to that advice. But it's kind of a pointless thing to give advice to someone who's younger, who's new to the world, who thinks they're invincible. It's a hard thing. But I guess if I were to give advice, and assuming I would actually, be able to ingrain it, I would say just to relax and not go crazy on trying to people please. And also just relax. Everything's gonna be fine. Get comfortable. You're not gonna upset anybody. Just be you and just be silly and don't put all the pressure on yourself to be perfect and do everything right the first time. There's room for error. Just relax into it. It's all gonna be okay. Do I enjoy traveling? That was another question I got. I love traveling. What are some of my favorite places to travel to? Was also part of that question. I do love traveling, and I especially love the experience of even going through the airport and stopping and getting some food, making sure everything is packed and my gear is the best it can be, so that when I travel, it's as much of a smooth process as possible. I really try to wear the most comfortable outfits when I travel. I have my methods. I bring. I think that's Kyle who just sneezed. But I have my methods, I bring a comfy sweater, comfy pants, some comfy shoes that I can walk in and even run in if I have to. But yeah, when I travel, I've learned, how to sleep on a plane and fall asleep successfully, especially on a really early flight. The key to it for me is just get as comfortable and remove as much sensory exposure as I can. So the key for me is a nice comfortable blanket that covers my entire body. I wear earplugs that are really noise canceling. I wear a really comfortable face mask that I can pretty much sleep in any position and it's not going to be uncomfortable. And I do still wear a mask on the plane, which I think is very important because actually I started wearing masks before COVID happened when I traveled, because I would always come home with some sort of infection, sinus infection or some sort of cold just from flying and traveling. So I started wearing masks, and then of course COVID happened. But it's something I'm not going to change and I'm going to continue to do when I travel. The other thing I do is I usually use my backpack on the trays, and then I sleep like this on my backpack. And that's a good comfortable position for me where I can fall asleep pretty comfortably. Oh, another thing that I do is I have a very comfortable wraparound cushion that ties at the end so that I can basically just lean on it. And so if I'm in this position and I want to move, I can just kind of pass out like this on the plane. And it works really well. And it's a really high quality one that provides enough support so I can comfortably let my head fall and, not end up with a crinked neck or anything like that. Those are some of the things that I do when I travel. I might actually do another video where I talk about kind of the things that I use, the gear that I bring when I travel to make it as easy and as smooth as possible. Now, the other question was, what are some of my favorite places that I've traveled to? I think top of my list are London and Paris. I haven't been to South America yet. I really enjoyed Hawaii when I went this year. I really enjoyed Spain. I was there for a long time. I was in Marbella, which is a small beach town, which is, I mean, it's one of the highest rated cities in Spain to visit. It was just so relaxed. They have a completely different lifestyle there. And I really loved Paris and London when I visited. I visited London for the BAFTA Awards a few years back at this point, and Paris as well during that time. The other place that's on my bucket list is going to Japan one day. I have yet to go to that part of the world, so I hope to visit at some point. I got a question kind of in the vein of traveling, which is about what is one of my favorite things to do when I visit Montreal. I think one of my favorite things is to walk around downtown Montreal and go shopping. I really enjoy a lot of the shops and like kind of the ambiance that's there, even in the winter time. Like, I think it's just a lot of fun. I love bike riding around Montreal, and I love going to different eateries. I always try to make it a point to try to at least eat poutine one time when I go back to visit, since it's much harder to get poutine around here. Even though they do have it, there's a couple places like Smoke's Poutineery, which I think is still out here. Other than that, I like going to visit my friends who live in and around the city. That's always really nice. Another thing I like to do, which is kind of different, I guess, is I like to go get my hair done in Montreal. There's a lot of great places that, are really good at cutting hair, styling hair, coloring hair, all that stuff. So I tend to go to visit those places if I can fit it in to get like my hair done. Like, as you guys know, this isn't my natural hair color. This is my natural hair color. This part isn't. It's bleached. Somebody asked about my favorite childhood TV shows growing up. There were quite a few that I loved, but the ones that always kind of quickly come to mind when I'm asked that question is Gargoyles. I really loved the Gargoyles TV show. It was a cartoon. I really enjoyed Recess, another cartoon, children's cartoon. And then there was this Starship Troopers, a 3D animated show. Loved the intro music for the theme song for that TV show growing up. I also enjoyed watching the sitcom 8 Simple Rules. That was on my list. John Ritter, rest in peace. Used to love that show. I also loved Lost, the TV show, the one and only, the iconic. I actually am thinking of rewatching it because Kyle has never seen it, so I'm almost, I know it's a lot of seasons, but I'm hoping that he would still enjoy it because it does kind of still hold up, and it's got a lot of cool moments, and it's action-packed, and it's mystery, and it's a bunch of cool stuff happening. So even though it's a bit of an older show, but it's still a classic, and it's just a blind spot of his that I really hope he can fill one day. Somebody asked what's my favorite game I've played all year. I think I already answered this quite a few times, but it does change, so I figured it would be worth bringing up again. But I have been playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm loving it a ton. I'm just playing it by myself. Every now and then I drop in and do a couple side quests. I'm like going in with little bite sizes. Someone asked, what's the plan for 2024? The plan for 2024 is to have as much fun as possible. See if I can get some traveling in. I'm gonna do the radio show, that's happening, so look out for the iHeartRadio show when I announce that. See what other projects that I've planted the seed this year and hope will grow immensely in the new year. So that's kind of what the plan is right now. Still plan to continue doing content on my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel. Spend a lot more time with family. Celebrate all the small wins. Get as many fun projects under my belt as I can. I think that's the goal. Someone asked if I model. I used to model in my early 20s and I really enjoyed it. I've considered potentially doing like commercial modeling and getting into that. Like, I don't think I could do like high fashion editorial modeling, but I could definitely see myself doing commercial modeling. I would have to get an agent for that. I would have to revamp my portfolio. There's a couple things that I would have to do. Given my career and everything, it's not something that makes sense to go back to. Unless, of course, there's like this crazy opportunity that comes about and they specifically want someone who looks like me. But yeah, I haven't modeled in quite a bit of time. I'm not like never gonna do it again, but I don't think it's something that I want to pursue actively, because I've kind of done other cool things beyond that, and I've already done modeling, so it's part of my history, but it's not necessarily where my career has gone. I think I've evolved and done different things beyond that. Hopefully that answers that. Someone asked, how does a 9-to-5 person get into the position I'm in with the sort of access and status that I have? I think it really is about making strong connections in the industry. However way you can go about that, there's many different ways. I would say if you can, definitely try to build on your portfolio, try to grind and do little jobs here and there that are in the field and kind of leading towards working in video games. I think the best advice and kind of the advice I've always given is start creating your own content, get comfortable talking in front of the camera, formulating your thoughts and opinions in a way that's clear and concise. Like, just really practice what it is you want to be doing as much and as often as you can during your 9-to-5 job. So usually that's like in the evening or on the weekends. Try to go to conventions to make connections as well. It is about networking and getting in front of people and talking with them about this dream of yours, that this is what you want to do. Just be very vocal and open about what it is you want to do. I think also through developing a sense of what your figure out what your sensibilities are when it comes to your opinions about games, when it comes to your perspective, how does it differ from other people? Perhaps you can provide perspectives that people haven't thought of yet. Try to really define and fine-tune your opinion and your voice. So that's Odie back there. He's licking his paws right now. Somebody did ask me about if they could get a close-up of Odin, which is kind of funny and weird, but let's see if I can get him on the camera. This is Odie. All right, so there you go, Odie in the flesh. All right, Odie's being rowdy, so I'm just gonna go take him for a WALK, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. What do I want to talk about today? Thinking, brain not computing.